The truck and tractor pullers of the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League represent one of the most powerful motorsports series in the nation. After months of interstate travel and dozens of rounds of competition, the season finally comes to an end tonight at Lucas Oil Speedway. Generating thousands of horsepower, these beasts of machinery need year-long tuning and adjusting in the pursuit of a class championship. A great pass on the track may only be around 300 feet, but a great season is more of a marathon. For the super modified tractors and the super modified two-wheel drive trucks, that marathon reaches its conclusion tonight. Don't go anywhere. This adrenaline-fueled, action-packed finale starts now. Welcome to the Diamond of Dirt Tracks. You're watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League, and this telecast is presented by Toyota. This is the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico. Ken Stout and Leslie Mears here to call the action for you at the final hook of the 2018 season, and it brings us to this beautiful facility.
Yeah, we're checking out the pulling action tonight, but so many other motorsports events take place here, like drag boat racing, off-road racing, and of course, dirt track racing.
They have packed the house here to watch the best go at it, so let's talk about the track they'll be doing battle on here tonight.
It's amazing what they do to prepare the track for pulling action. The track is usually about 350 feet long. Now, that's because we have to have a little extra runoff room at the end. A great hook would end at 300 feet. That's the traditional full pull line. But because our vehicles make so much power, we decided to add 310 and 320 feet as options. Now, that full pull line will be set after the fifth vehicle officially hooks in the class.
And to follow up on that, if you're new to the sport, if we have more than two vehicles, I should say more than one vehicle across that full pull line, then we will have what we call a pull-off to determine who the overall winner will be. This is the super modified two-wheel drive category. These are alcohol-fed machines. They run on methanol, a lot of times referred to as alcohol. As you can see, the supercharger sticking up out of the hood. Two-wheel drive, as the class designation would infer. Bobby Barbie doing the driving behind the wheel of the Willie Make It. One of the most iconic trucks out here on the tour, has been doing it for a long, long time.
That's another exciting component of this class, is that you get to see so many different body styles out here like that 41 Willys.
Yeah, and that truck picked up a win just 2 hooks ago in Hamburg, New York. Here's a look at our pulling order, and that's always critical.
We have 2 contenders tonight for the championship, and that hook order really makes a difference, especially with the class so deep that we have here with 16 competitors that we're going to see in action. You need to know how far the guy goes in front of you to know if maybe you need to wick up your tune-up a little bit to get that edge to maybe take home the win.
Here comes Jim Mattingly in the Thor truck, and we'll try to keep you up to speed on everything happening in terms of this championship. As Leslie just mentioned, there's just 8 points between first and second place, and that will be sorted out here tonight. The Thor truck comes in here 11th in the points. It's been up on the podium a couple times this year, and he's going to settle in at 3:02 and 36, and will take over the lead. As Leslie talked about before, they'll need 5 trucks to pull out here to try to determine where that full pull mark is going to be set. Here's a look at the points that we were talking about.
So close at the top there, with Tim Messer driving the thin blue line out front by 8 points ahead of Jared Nelson in the Midnight Revenger, who is trying to make it a three-peat here. He's already the back-to-back and reigning champ in the category, and he's trying to solidify his place here in super modified two-wheel drive history by trying to take home the championship tonight. But he's got a tough road ahead of him.
Up next will be a truck called Fistful of Dollars with Young. Clay Chastain doing the driving. Magic Dry sponsorship on the side of that one. Organic Oil Dry. And that front end up and down is going to hurt him just a little bit, and it's going to cost him the lead in this particular case. The mark he needed to get past was Jim Mattingly's 3:02 and 36. He goes 3:02 and 27, and the difference was a mere 1 inch. That's how close it gets out here.
Now, the whole goal in this class as you're pulling is try to keep that sled as straight as possible. And you can see that Clay Chastain had some trouble there. The truck started to veer off to the right-hand side of the track. These guys have open rear ends and independent rear brakes, so he tapped that left rear brake to bring it back around to the center so that he wouldn't go out of bounds.
And, of course, that also hurt his distance. So what that tells us is there's a lot left out here if somebody can really put a good one together. We'll find out how Jamie Mattingly does here. We just saw Jim Mattingly, so we'll see if they're able to transfer any of that information over from that previous hook to the spike truck. Front end up right at the very end, and Spike goes 3:02 and 49, just sneaks by about 2.5 inches to take over the lead. But look how close the last three have been. 3:02 and 27 and 36 and 49. Amazing already how tight this is. As Jeremy Nelson pulls up here next with that beautiful truck called the Midnight Gambler, and Leslie spoke to him earlier.
For former class champ Jeremy Nelson, it was a bit of a slow start to the season, but it was just little things that seemed to plague you right from the beginning.
Yeah, right off the bat, we had a brand new chassis and had some mishaps in the motor that caused us to change motors right off the bat. So that set us back, probably 3 events to get back to where we should have been at the second event. So we kind of hit our stride there, halfway through the summer, and then we stumbled a little bit, but I thought we was creeping up on this championship, and then with a couple rainouts, now we're struggling for second. We can get to second, but we're still here in the top 5. We got all our trucks in the top 10, so I guess we're not going to complain. We just want to finish strong with a top, I'm going to say a win, but a top 2 or 3 finish, and maybe climb another position in the points and consider it a good year and build for next year.
Yeah, and with a strong finish tonight, he could climb as high as second in the points.
And they're certainly one of the powerhouse teams out here. When you take a look at them, there's Jared Nelson, there's Jeremy Nelson, Bethany Nelson, Misty Nelson, and then, of course, you can't forget John Muma. He's also part of that team as well. And safe to say that he did not nail it there. As you see the front end again up and down, they really just want to hang that front end out there and keep it steady to keep those rear tires planted. So he'll miss the mark here. 298 and 48 is the distance. We're going to take a quick break here. We're just getting going with the super modified 2-wheel drive trucks. And there's a look at your top 3.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by General Tire. Anywhere is possible. RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. And by E3 Spark Plugs. Born to burn.
The Polaris Ranger Crew XP1000 is one of the hardest working UTVs in the market. Plus, it gives you that legendary Polaris ride and handling. The expansive interior seats up to 6, which is perfect for any job site, hunting, or trail riding expedition. With 80 horsepower, it's got more power than any side-by-side in the world. Pair that with a 2,000-pound towing capacity, and your options are unlimited for work or fun. Check them out at your local retailer or at PolarisRanger.com. The Polaris Ranger Crew XP1000 gives you the versatility and power to get any job done.
And we welcome you back here to the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico. We're at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. It's just an outstanding complex here in the middle of the country. Tony Tatum coming up here in the Parch City truck, and he has just really struggled here in 2018. Finished 10th in the points 1 year ago, but far from that here this year. been doing it for a long time, and of course his daughter, a former champ inside of the category as well, but does a great job here as he takes over the lead by a sizable amount, 3:09 and 17.
And what we're seeing that's a little bit different about this pull is he's getting that front end up in the air a little bit higher than everyone else. Now, the whole deal with two-wheel drive truck pulling is the fact that you have to get the perfect balance of weight into those rear tires so you can utilize all 6,200 pounds that you have on the machine. In order to do that, you're going to want the front end up about 12 to 16 inches off the ground, and that's the perfect angle to drive all that weight into the rear tires and maximize your effort.
And speaking of his daughter, the former champ, she was right there alongside the truck when he was pulling off of the track. Here comes the Southwind Dental truck, and this truck has been on a roll as of late. In fact, the last 3 hooks, 2 wins, and a second-place finish. Spectacular looking Ford there for Tim Messer, and he's going to come out here and make a run at it again. 3:14 and 10. We have a new leader.
Well, I think for Tim Messer this year, this is the first time that he's had 2 trucks in the field. And you can see here, it's really going to give him an advantage, or it should give him an advantage, as we can see. He puts up a huge distance with his first truck out there, and he's getting a really good feel for the track. Unlike the others that had some issues going off to the right, you can see him going to the left-hand side of the track and just letting the truck roll out there, not really messing with the brakes, not trying to slow it down, just letting the truck hook up to the track and take its own path.
As we talked about at the top of the show, there's 3 options there in terms of a full pull mark, 300, 310, and 320. The officials have set the full pull mark at the 310-foot range, which means we have 1 truck across that 310-foot mark. If we get another one, we will have a pull-off. Here comes the Sweet Revenge doing the driving, Bethany Nelson. On the front end, up and down a bunch on that one as well. Another former champ inside of this category, and that's 2 Nelson trucks that have not come out here and performed the way they typically do, 292 and 47.
You know, I was really looking forward to a good, strong run for her. For the last 7 events, she picked up a win in Evansville, Indiana, and then it's really just been full steam ahead from there for her. And I was really hoping she would end on that high note because her season had been so strong in the second half.
Yeah, she came in here 5th in the points, so a solid effort as to be expected. By the way, how tough is it inside of this category? Of the 19 people chasing points, we've had 10 different winners in the first 12 hooks. Only 2 repeat winners all season long. Chad Mayhill comes in here 3rd in the points in the P5 truck, and he'll go 3:04 and 88.
Yeah, and he's another guy that's really come on strong late in the season, picked up a win at Altamont, Illinois, and really just cruising down through there and putting all of his years on the track, in the truck, and also operating the transfer device, the sled back there, to good use in his track setup and runs.
Up next is the guy that's chasing the championship. He's got a shot at it here tonight, and Leslie spent some time with him.
The lead is 8 points here for Tim Messer, and you've had the lead most of the season, Tim. So is this an uncomfortable spot for you, or are you used to it by now?
Well, I'm not used to it, and I never will be. But, you know, to say I'm uncomfortable right now, no, I'd rather be going into this event ahead as opposed to behind.
So what have you and your team kind of been talking about as far as strategy tonight and how you're going to try to hold on to those 8 points to come out of here with your first championship?
We're not going to do anything different that we haven't done all year. It's got us this far. We're just going to go out here and do the same thing. We'll look at our notes from years past, but quite honestly, this track looks different this year, and I don't think that the notes are going to be effective at all.
He certainly has his work cut out for him. It is not over by any stretch of the imagination. This is a large class. There's a lot of points available. Oh, wow. And the points leader coming in here could be in some big trouble. 278 and 92. That is not missing it by a little bit. That's missing it by a month. He's in some trouble here.
especially after such a great run in the Southwind Dental truck. He picked a similar line on the track. The pulling track is 35 to 40 feet wide, and the competitors can choose whatever line that they want starting on that starting line. And so he picks a very similar line that yielded him that 314 and change distance in his prior run. However, you don't see the front end of that truck come up until the very, very end. So a little heavy on the nose out there and just not really getting the power to the ground that he needs.
Boy, I agree. To come out here and have such a strong effort in that Southwind Dental truck and then miss it here is quite the surprise nonetheless. So there's a look at your top three, and boy, this championship is wide open now. Stay with us. A packed house here at Lucas Oil Speedway for the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico. Here's a look at the Boyd & Sons sponsored machine called the Midnight Revenger. Jared Nelson doing the driving, and of course, he is the guy we've been talking about that's just 8 points back, and he has a golden opportunity here. Leslie spoke to him earlier.
Jared Nelson was on the uphill climb towards that #1 spot in the points, but a little bit of a hiccup, maybe an ignition issue at Springfield, giving you some fits. Do you have that fixed for this weekend?
We're hoping so. We ended up breaking the transmission, tried to drop the pull, come back, swab a tranny out of another truck. It worked. I mean, it held, but by then the track was kind of going the other direction on us. We didn't catch it in time. Had a bad run. I mean, it's probably our worst finish in 3 years, but all we can do now is hope that everything new we put in is right. You know, we got rained out last weekend where we was hoping to get a test on everything, but you know, it's all or nothing now. So we have our backs up against the wall, and all we got to do is try to go out and win, and hopefully they stumble and we can pull off another victory.
Yeah, and you talked about him being the two-time and reigning champ coming in here. The past 2 years have been nothing short of exceptional. And we'll find out if he can step up and steal it away. He has the opportunity here. And it is safe to say that that is a lackluster effort, certainly by Jared Nelson standards. 300.32 is the distance, and that only puts 2 trucks between himself and Tim Messer, and he needs a total of 4.
After he saw his wife Bethany's run over on the right-hand side of the track, he decided to move a little left of center, and it still pulled him off to that right-hand side. And so maybe not the best track position. And you can see the team over there looking at all the numbers. His wife Bethany there with the white pants on, his sister-in-law Misty Nelson looking at the notes being taken by his mother-in-law to see how much ground he has gained on Tim Messer and how many trucks he needs between them.
And we'll see how John Muma does. Keep in mind the Nelsons and John Muma trade a lot of notes and a lot of information, but so far the Nelsons have stumbled here tonight. We'll see if John can put one together. He was up on the podium. Matter of fact, a win at the second hook of the season. And John just stands on the throttle and goes out there, puts 3:09 and 32 on the board, and that's good enough to jump up into second place.
Yeah, and that's a great pass that we're seeing from the Rhino Ag truck out here. It's been a little lackluster for him this season, considering that he's the 2-time champ. He did pick up a win at the second hook of the season, but then just a podium here and a top 5 there. Just not really the truly consistent season that we've seen from him in the past. So to get that nice big wheel stand, a nice fast, solid run under his belt going into the winter, it's got to make him feel good.
Yeah, that's one of those high spots in the season as he comes in here 10th in the points. So started things off pretty good, had some success there in the middle of the season, and has a great effort here at the end as well. Here comes the former champ, as we talked about before, Lisa Tatum, inside of the full throttle machine. And Lisa at full song doing a great job. She did grab a win earlier in the season, but comes in here pretty deep in the points. But she goes 3, 10, and 70, and that's good enough to take over second place.
And that will also put her in the pull-off, too. So we're going to see a pull-off at the end of this class. Her dad, Tony Tatum, had an awesome run for where he hooked towards the beginning of the class. And so they're going to use that setup, use the knowledge. They're going to stand back there and watch the track and give her a great spot out there. She's a great driver, too. Let's not take that away from her. The 2006 class champion out here in the inaugural season of the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. So she knows what she's doing out there as well.
A great effort out of her, and we'll find out who's going to win this thing a little bit later on tonight, but she will certainly be part of that battle in the pull-off, as you talked about before. Misty Nelson coming up here next in the Midnight Chaos, comes in here 6th in the points. She also grabbed a win a little bit earlier in the season. What a great effort here. She came in 6th in the points. She will actually surpass Bethany Nelson as she has a good effort here. 3:08 and 16 is good enough to jump into the top 5 as it stands right now, and also 5th in the points. Much more importantly, congratulations to Tim Messer. That's it. They can't put enough between them to change the points enough for Jared Nelson to jump up and take that championship. So Tim Messer will be your 2018 champ here in the category.
And the last hook here will be Donnie Sullivan driving all in.
And Donnie not able to surpass that tough 310-foot mark, so that will leave us with 2 trucks and the pull-off. Tim Messer with the Southwind Dental Machine and Lisa Tatum, the full throttle truck. They'll battle it out when we come back. And welcome back to the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico here at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. Ken Stout and Leslie Mears here calling the action for you in our super modified 2-wheel drive truck category. Congrats to Tim Messer. He is our champion, however, not inside of that truck. That is not the championship winning truck. We'll see if he can win this event, though. This is the pull-off. Just 2 trucks yet to go. And the first shot has been fired. 3, 11, and 20. A spectacular effort that would have been good enough to stand as 2nd overall throughout the entire class. But that's a great way to come back here inside of this pull-off.
And that truck has been so hot lately. 3 podiums and the last 3 events, including 2 wins.
Yeah, for sure, man. They have definitely turned the program around on that machine. And here comes Lisa Tatum. We'll see if she can grab her 2nd win of the season with the full throttle machine.
Yeah, she's done it before here at Wheatland, where she's been the last hook of the night and taken home the win.
And she's going to miss it by just a little bit here. The distance, 3:09.05. So congratulations to Tim Messer. Puts the icing on top of the cake. He wins the championship and then comes out here and wins the final event of the 2018 season.
Well, John Muma in the after midnight tonight charges hard at the end of the poll to put yourself in 3rd place. And I know that it's been a little bit of a tough road to hoe for you this year.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. The truck won at Memphis back in May. I wasn't driving it, but it won. And it seemed like it went downhill since that. We've tried different things. We've even put a different blower on right now. Matter of fact, it was Jared's blower that we had on, and it seemed to liven the truck up. So we come on pretty strong here towards the end.
Great effort, and here's a look at the final order. In the pull-off, as you can see, highlighted in yellow is Tim Messer and Lisa Tatum. Congrats to them. There's John Muma, who we just spoke to, at 3:09 and 32. Tony Tatum with a great effort here to round out the end of the season, and Misty Nelson inside of the top 5. Once again, let's go back down to the podium, and this time we'll talk to Lisa.
There is something about this Wheatland track and Lisa Tatum that you go together like peas and carrots out here.
I tell you what, if you're going to do good somewhere, typically the best places are big tracks. I love Wheatland, Missouri for that. Somewhere where they're doing TV, which is always great for the people back home that know that I'm gone all the time but don't exactly know what the heck we're doing. So, and it's also really great for our sponsor, Part City, and for me, FullThrottleKeto.com. So, yeah, the track was a hooking track. It really took some power out there, and Dad went before me, so he was guinea pig. So he really led the way for me and showed me the setup that we needed, and I went in there and backed it up, and it was great.
And let's take a look at the points. Yeah, it was quite the battle here in 2018, but finally, somebody was able to stop the Jared Nelson juggernaut that was 2016 and 17. The two-time champ falls, but only by a scant 3 points. It was a great season for sure. Congrats to Tim Messer. Let's go back to the podium.
It was a super intense night for Team Messer here. And Tim, first off, let's talk about, the battle with the Southwind Dental truck. You had that initial hook, you drop, you come back, you blow the doors off in regulation, and then you come back in the pull-off and do it again. That truck is just running so good tonight.
Yeah, I think we've won like 3 out of the last 4 hooks with that. I mean, we've just got it dialed in. It's fun to drive. I think I've got a real good feel for it, and it just hooked well tonight.
Well, congratulations, but we got to switch gears and talk about the bigger picture, because tonight is very special for you. A kid from Warsaw, Kentucky that grew up coming with the Sullivans, and here you are taking home your first championship tonight.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and we've worked extremely hard this year, total team effort. We've been lucky, and tonight we were extremely lucky. It's such a tough sport. I made a terrible pass. I think Jared could have made a better pass and probably sealed the door on his victory instead of mine. But, I guess the cards were just in our favor this year, and, I can't complain there. I'm just very happy to be here.
Hey, we're far from done. The multi-engine machines are ready to make some big-time noise. The Super Mods are warming up. Stay with us.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. Cat Spot, love your pet, love your planet. And by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world.
And once again, that is a beautiful sight here at Lucas Oil Speedway for the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico. Time now for the big dogs to make some big noise. The Super Mods are ready to get after it, and once again, their final hook here for the 2018 season.
We'll kick the class off here with Ricky Long driving the Lucas Oil Racing TV tractor.
Currently 5th in the points. And Ricky Long's going to kick this one off with a strong 308.10. Another very tough category here. He has grabbed a couple of podiums along the way, including a win. As we take a look at the pulling order, in fact, of this category, 11 people chasing points, 8 of them have grabbed wins along the way. Another very, very difficult category.
And it's very unique, too, with the automotive reciprocating engines, the turbines, all competing on the track together, weighing 7,800 pounds and putting out up to 10,000 horsepower. It's just clearly amazing. One of the veterans in the category is Wayne Sullivan, and I caught up with him earlier this afternoon.
Well, I love catching up with the wily veteran, Wayne Sullivan, and I know that you like to watch pulling as much as you like to pull, and you were out there kind of looking at the track last night and today. So what are you seeing in the development of the track for your class tonight?
Oh, the boy puts the pull on. He told me back in the summer that he added dirt here, and the track in the past ain't been no count here. It's been real loose, and we throw it off the track and everything like this. But what I seen last night looks awful good, so the people might be in for a real show tonight. We got a brand new set of tires on tonight, and it's got me somewhat worried, but yeah, you get to a point where you can't worry. So it could, if it buys as good as it did last night, I might be barking at the moon, but we'll ride her out.
He always says something to make you chuckle for sure. So We'll see if he's barking at the moon here tonight or not. I will tell you, he's had another solid season. Comes in here third in the points. Former champ inside of this category. 6 podiums so far coming in. Woo! That front end up and just hanging there. It's a thing of beauty. And he put those brand new tires to work tonight. Nice job for the gorgeous Kentuckian. And in fact, a little moment there, as you can see one of the officials reaching over to take care of an issue. But how about 3:16 and 71 getting it done?
And just like in drag racing and tractor pulling, you want to get a good hole shot. You see some sparks coming from the clutch can down there as he's getting all that power transferred to the rear end. But I mean, I just love to see the horsepower going into the rear end, to watch that wedge chassis flex and rise up off the ground as it makes its way down the track. It's just so cool.
Yeah, man, what a great effort there out of Wayne Sullivan. There's a look at the points coming in here, and Greg Boyd has already solidified this championship, his first inside of the Supermod category, and it is safe to say that the Boyds have dominated this category this year. Both of them with 10 podiums apiece coming in here. Greg with 5 wins, his father Steve with 3 wins. Man, oh man, did they get it figured out. We knew they would, but boy, they put it together here in 2018.
Michael Stewart up next in the Protect the Harvest Down and Dirty Machine, and he kicked off the season with a win and then an additional podium, but really still searching out there for others.
Yeah, had a good showing at Altamont just a handful of hooks ago, but just has not had that championship winning season that he had a couple of years ago. So he'll come out here and post a 280 and 77. Not enough to hang with the big dogs here, but we are far from done. Speaking of big dogs, they're waiting in the wings to go.
The Optima Batteries Kentuckian team knows what it takes to crank up some horsepower, and that's why they turned to the Optima Signature Yellow Top Battery. Not only does it offer amazing cranking power, but it has the ability to be used in deep cycle applications as well. It's the perfect battery for motorsports because it offers 15 times more vibration resistance than any other traditional flooded battery. That signature sealed yellow top design means you can mount it in virtually any position, and it's maintenance free because you never have to add water. Check out all the options from Optima Batteries at your local auto parts store or at optimabatteries.com. Optima Signature Yellow Top Batteries, the ultimate power source.
And once again, we welcome you back here to the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals presented by Geico. The Supermods are in the house as we take a look at certainly one of the best. Keith Long coming up here next. So much experience inside of pulling alone, but relatively new to this category. Went on a streak of 4 podiums and 5 hooks right in the middle of the season. Like he might have threw a blower belt off there right in the beginning.
Yeah, you could see within the first 10 feet of leaving the line on that front left engine, it just spun right off. And the blower belt, of course, critical to running that supercharger that's going to shove all that air down in the engine to help it create good power.
Yeah, tough go, but for sure as Greg Boyd comes up here, and this is who we were talking about, or at least part of the team that we were talking about with the Boyds, and what an incredible 2018 season they've had. Leslie had a chance to speak with Greg earlier.
Greg, this is your 4th year in the modified tractor. So, you know, what's different about this year for you guys and your team that you've been able to be so dominant?
Well, we built a complete new tractor this year that I've been running, and it's I think it's given us some advantage in some areas. We've learned some things in the off season about our old program that we had some, I guess you call it false information. We had some things that we thought we were doing one way and we really weren't doing them that way, and so we made those changes, and that was a huge step for us. And then to try and combine that with the new full bull chassis, it's been a good combination.
You know, you come into this weekend kind of in a similar situation that your dad was in a couple years ago. So has it kind of crossed your mind that there's an opportunity for driver error tonight and you might not take home the championship?
There's always that opportunity, but I got a pretty good cushion because the only tractor that can beat me is Dad. So either way, we're taking home the championship, so it doesn't really matter. There's not a lot of pressure there, and we're happy with however it comes out.
Have you had a little bit of time to, think about that? You're a relative newcomer into the category, especially with all the people who have pulled in this category for years and multiple championships. To think about just in 4 short years, you're taking home a championship.
Yeah, there's a lot of people involved in that. It's not just myself. I'm just the lucky guy who gets to drive it. But we've put together a great team, and in order to be competitive, you have to have a good team. We got some really good guys at home as well that go those pulls with us, and yeah, it's pretty special to do that when you pull with guys, the caliber of Bill Eicher and Wayne Sullivan and several. Everybody in our class is just fantastic. They're top-notch people.
So coming in this weekend, what's your goal? Are you focusing on, okay, there's this little tweak or turn that I want to do for next year? Or are you thinking, I just kind of need to keep my baseline and kind of ride this out?
I made a small adjustment that we want to see how it works before next year, and but no, the goal is always the same. We want to win. That's what we come to do.
They do like to win, and of course they were dominant inside of the pro stock category for so many years. Decided to come up here and start playing ball, and the results a handful of years later are exactly the same. Boy, some issues right there. That is not the effort that we've seen out of that machine all season long. He's going to miss it by a bunch at 195 and 86. He did say he made a small change, but certainly something did not act right there.
He was really close to that right sideline as well, so I wondered if he was worried about going out of bounds. But definitely once those rear tires start to load and unload where they're not really grabbing hold of the track very hard, and you start to bounce, it's really hard to drive through that. And so as a driver, you've got to make a couple decisions. You've got to think, am I going to go full throttle and try to ride it out, or am I going to back out of the throttle and try to save my engine and save my machine?
Yeah, he was hard on that left brake for sure, and you could see it light up that rotor on the inside every time he stood on it. So just wasn't that good effort, but it's okay. He had such an incredible season, he could get away with one here at the end of the year. He spoke about Bill Eicher. Well, here comes the multi-time champ. And Bill's been digging up there after a slow start on the season. He'll come out here and go 280.05, and he also struggles.
It's interesting to see him do that, especially coming in as the reigning champ for the year to only pick up 2 podiums.
Up next will be Steve Boyd, and that is the father of Greg. Again, another multi-time champ inside of the pro stock category, and was all over a championship here a year ago. Just did not get it done.
Oh, what a great wheel stand so early.
Comes in here second in the points, and just as hungry as ever to come out here and try to win. 296 and 63 is going to be the distance, and again, well short of what Wayne Sullivan has set so far. If you want to win this one, stay with us. We still have one tractor yet to go.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Polaris, fuel your freedom. And by K&N, superior airflow, superior performance.
Just one tractor left here at the General Tire Pro Pulling Nationals, presented by Geico. And the turbines are warming up.
Yeah, they live their lives as military aircraft, power plants, and now out here on the track. Derek Bargey's going to be doing the driving in the Rhino Ag Judge, and I spoke with him earlier.
Well, the Bargey team has always fared well here at Lucas Oil Speedway, and 3 of the last 4 years you guys have podiumed here, Derek. So what is it about you guys in this last hook of the year having so much success?
I'm not really quite sure, but we do like it out here. We do tend to do well. Maybe just the end of the year, we're a little more relaxed, and everything seems to work. This tractor hooks up well. We just leave it all out there. We kind of, seems like those years been kind of tough, and we just come out here and go for the win and kind of throw caution to the wind, I guess, and see what we can do.
And of course, the turbines on the line take a little bit more time because they've got to get all those fan blades inside the turbines up to a certain RPM before they can set the line lock and transfer the power to the rear end.
Well, I think he had to pull back on the throttle right there, and it set the front end back down. He was going off to the left-hand side of the track and had to try and save it. So, unfortunately, he does not have a good hook here at the end of the season as well. 2:15 and 29, and we'll get it over to the podium where Leslie is with Steve Boyd.
Well, Steve Boyd ends up in a third tonight, and I think we might have seen a first tonight. I think we saw you stab the brake pretty hard out there.
Yeah, it was wanting to take me to the right, and I didn't really want to go to the right.
Well, and that's new because I didn't think that Steve Boyd ever hit the brakes.
That's evident. I went out of bounds a year or two ago.
But you were able to keep it in with that tonight. And so I know you guys are excited to take home the championship and then for you to get third place tonight and have another podium under your belt.
Well, I have second place for the season, first and second. I'm thrilled. No matter what happened tonight, I couldn't lose. I was happy, really happy. And thank you guys. Thank Forrest Lucas from Charlotte for all they do for all of us. They're great people. They have a great organization, and I just want to thank everybody, all the sponsors, and you guys that work. You guys work very, very hard, and we do appreciate it.
Here's a look at the final order for this evening. Congrats to Wayne Sullivan up on top, Ricky Long, Steve Boyd, of course, all up on the podium. Michael Stewart and Bill Leishner will round out your top five here at the final hook of the 2018 season. Some 17 hooks long. It's been a great year. Let's go back to the podium.
So Ricky Long was the first hook of the night. You ended up second, and, there was some question there at the end of the tack. We wondered if you were going to take your hook or not because you know how many heavy hitters are in the class. What was your kind of decision-making process there?
Well, here, it's the last hook of the year, and, of course, you want to lay it all down, but that thing went down through there straight as an arrow and didn't hit no brakes. And most of the time with that class, if you can keep it under control and keep it going straight, it'll finish okay. So that's what we were after, and we were real happy. And when we come out here with a second, so that's where we need to be.
And we'll take a look at the pass that grabbed the win here this evening. The Kentuckian, just a beautiful machine, and boy, did he put on a great show tonight. Wayne Sullivan grabs his second win on the season. Let's go down and talk to him.
Well, we're excited to see Wayne Sullivan on top of the pedestal tonight, as you so like to call it out here. And it's more than just when you're up here that you get to talk to me and you win.
Well, you're saying that, but yes, it's a great night. We had a good year. This even tops it off. I want to thank Optima Battery and Lucas Oil and Progressive Plating. It helped me chrome everything. And tonight I want to thank Mitos Tires. That's a brand new set of tires, and we didn't know what they were going to do, but I'm sort of in love with them now.
Well, of course you are. It was like a super smooth pass. It was nice and fast out there. You got a great hole shot. I don't know if you could ask for more tonight.
Yes, I agree with you. I understand. The only thing I can ask any better tonight, I get a kiss from you.
He is always a character for sure. We love Wayne Sullivan. Always puts a smile on our face. Here's a look at the final points. Congrats to the Boyds, man. What a dominant year. As you can see there, 56 points back from the top two. And, of course, as I talked about before, they strung together some 20 podiums along the way. Let's talk to the champ.
It was a little bit of a close call tonight for Greg Boyd, but you do hang on to the points championship. You knew you had it wrapped up coming in. So, I know it's soon, but has it had a chance to really sink in yet?
No, being a competitive person, you like to do better, at the event. And to come in here and get a last place, that's kind of depressing. But that's fortunately, we were in a good enough place. We had a good enough year that it didn't really matter. And, man, what an awesome season we had to finish first and second in the points with the kind of lead that we had against the kind of competition we had. These guys are no slouches. They're the best there is, and it's a pretty proud feeling.
When you join an elite group of pullers who have won multiple championships in multiple classes, and so that's pretty special too.
That is, but that's a true testament to our team. All these guys behind us, they work their tails off. And it's not when you're just at the pull, it's at home. Put a lot of time in, and so when you got a team like that, well, you can be successful.
Never miss a pull. Go to propulling.com/set reminder to add all of the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League airings to your personal calendar. Receive a calendar reminder minutes before each event airs.
What an incredible season. Congratulations to our champions all along the way. Boy, it is hard fought in both of these categories, both the super modified tractors and the super mod two-wheel drive trucks. It is no easy task, and they put on a great show for all of us to watch as well. Hope you enjoyed the great pulling action. For Leslie Mears, I'm Ken Stout. You've been watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.